Broadcasting from Hollywood, it's the official On Air with Brandon J podcast. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to On Air with Brandon J. I'm Brandon. I'm joined by a special guest today, producer. He's calling all the way from Nashville, Mr. Jeff Huskins. Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm good, man. I know you've been mixing some super cool records, and for all of us that don't know who you're currently working with, just give us a few names, if you would.
Well, this past week, I just finished up mixing Lainey Wilson's album Bell Bottom Country in Dolby Atmos for Jay Joyce, who's the producer, and she's one of our BMG artists here, and she's doing fantastic, amazing. The album is unbelievable. I can go on and on about it, but and then I've just finished the new single on Godsmack that's called Surrender, that's coming out here in a few weeks.
Whoa, what extreme to the other. I like it. That is super cool. You in the studio right now, Jeff. Let's talk about Adobe Atmos, right? Not Atlas, because my southern accent is kicking in, everybody. Atmos, ATMOS. Tell us what Adobe Atmos is, Jeff.
Well, Dolby Atmos is the new format that's kind of sweeping the entire music industry. Apple calls it spatial audio. If you've seen the commercials and all the spatial this, spatial that, it's the same thing as Dolby Atmos. And what makes Dolby Atmos unique is we've tried for years to have a surround system for music playback, and the problem with it is if you didn't have all this stuff, take one thing out of the equation, it didn't work.
Right.
So we've been stuck in stereo since 1948. So along comes Atmos, and what makes it unique is it's scalable. So if you have a 714 setup in your home or wherever in the studio, it works. If you don't have the top speakers, you just have a 7.1 system, it works. If you have a 5.1, it works all the way down to 2, all the way down to the Holy Grail, your iPhone. So and it works in what's called binaural mode on your iPhone. So when you go to Apple Music and you hit the spatial audio button and you play something through your headphones, you hear stuff around you, above you, below you. And that's what I do in here is I mix for that format. So
it creates more of a full-on one-on-one experience. When I'm listening to the music, it's not I'm just hearing it in my headphones per se, but I actually can feel it surrounding me.
It takes you from a 2-dimensional world to a 3-dimensional world, basically is what it does.
Oh man, here we go. Web 3.0. We've been talking about it, the web, the metaverse, the NFTs, the crypto. It's all going to be here, man. So Jeff, one of the questions I had for you, in all of your years and experience in music, and I already know the answer, but for those out there that do not know the answer to this question, how important is it for the mix, for your song to be mixed properly?
It's as important as having a great song to begin with. The mix is, you can absolutely destroy a song. You can mix it poorly or it could be produced poorly too, but the mix plays a bigger role than people realize. And even though the Atmos mixing is different, totally different than mixing a regular traditional stereo 2 mix and the things you do, there's a lot of things we do that are similar, but it's basically taking information that you have in 2 speakers and putting it into 13 speakers. And so there's a lot that can go wrong real quickly if you don't know what you're doing.
And what is the difference, Jeff, between a song that is fully mixed and then a song that is fully mixed and mastered?
It's always a big question because the word mastering and the word mastered gets convoluted in a lot of ways. I'll explain it first in the stereo world and then the Atmos world. In the stereo world, when you have a song, you record drums and bass and guitars and whatever's vocals, and they're all in multiple tracks. And the act of mixing would be to take all those, say 24 tracks or more, and mixing them all down to a stereo pair. Then once you have a stereo pair, then string in the two mix mastering world is you take that, you set it to the compliance levels of, the negative 16 LKFSs and 14, all that jargon that's out there is basically loudness. And you EQ the whole entire mix, you compress the whole entire mix, limiting, things like that. Just it polishes it, takes it to that next level where it sounds like the radio. So, and make sure you're at the proper volumes of all the other songs that are on the radio. Without mastering it, when you play your stuff against stuff that has been mastered, it's pretty blatantly obvious that something's missing and it ain't good. So then with Dolby Atmos, Atmos works off of, we don't have a two mix or a stereo mix. We have a 13 channel and up, and there's what we call objects in Atmos, and there's 128 of those. So you really, when you're mixing in Atmos, you're taking all those elements and spreading them out over 128 different adjustable, I call them GPS points within the room. Literally, you can take a vocal and fly it around the room, or you can send it from the front to the back, from the bottom to the top. Just, it's mind blowing when you get
that is incredible. I cannot wait to hear what you have been doing in the studio. And Jeff, how you and I got connected, and I have to give her a shout out, Miss Paula Ann of Ablaze. And she kept saying, Brandon, you got to meet Jeff. And I'm like, well, Jeff who? Jeff Huskins. He's working on this Adobe Atmos. And I was like, Adobe Atlas. And she was like, no, Atmos, silly.
Yeah.
So shout out to Miss Paula Ann for setting this up.
Paula's awesome. She rocks. Yeah.
Yeah, she does. She knows her stuff. She's got an ear for music, and it's very impressive.
She sure does. And she's sent me a lot of great clients over the years, and just she's an awesome person.
That's awesome. What's next, man? What's happening? What's new in Nashville, Tennessee?
Well, the next thing on my agenda, I'm finishing up. There's a new band called Everett, and they're actually on BMG. I'm finishing up their record this weekend, and then next week I'm starting. I'm going back into some back catalog for Eric Church. I'm doing his first album, and then what's after that? And then we're doing Ashley McBride's new record. That's coming, and then I got 5 Seconds of Summer. I'm doing them, which is totally the opposite.
Dude, you're working, man. Jeff, I'm impressed because you're not just in country. You're in pop. You're in Godsmack. I mean, come on. I mean, if you can mix a Godsmack record, you can pretty much mix anything under the sun.
I did. I just finished. Back about the first of the year, I did Hollywood Undead. I did their brand new album, and I did another band called Fit for a King, and it's that real heavy,
yes.
raw thing, So yeah, and then that, and I did John Anderson. So
one extreme to the other. What would you say is the most refreshing piece of music that you've had the opportunity to participate in recently?
To break it down into genres, in country, definitely the Jason Aldean. I did his Georgia record and his Macon record, those two albums. Those were amazing. And then hands down, this new Lainey Wilson. And not just because I just finished it, but it's truly, if she doesn't win some kind of Grammy for something on there, I'll be stunned. It's really amazing. Jay Joyce is just an incredible producer, and it's just unique sounds and things. And just when you get done listening to that record on her, who Lainey Wilson is. And that's really
You're
tough.
Gonna have to send it to me. I gotta hear it, man. I'm gonna have
really
to play it right here on air with Brendan J.
Yeah, I think there's a few songs that have been like the early release thing they do on Apple. I think they're out there, and I think Amazon's got her featured. But the first single I did for her and Jay was Heart Like a Truck, which is on the charts right now, doing well. I think they're in the 30, 20, high 20s on Billboard right now, so working their way up. So, but yeah, so that would be on that side. Then on the pop side, there's a band out of Texas called Water Parks that's really interesting. I've done a lot for them. Another artist named Party Alone, which is doing really, really well. And the Godsmack thing is just ridiculous.
That's just
So,
bananas. You could just drop the mic right now, Jeff. You
yeah,
don't have to mention any more names. A
yes.
question I have for you, and I'm sure our viewers at home would like to know this answer. When you sit down to mix a record from start to finish, typically how long of a process does it take
Whew.
for Jeff Huskins to mix?
It Well, the first thing I do is I get it, and I have the benefit of the stereo mix is done. So the creation that the artist and the producer have created in the stereo world is there for me to study. So that's my first order of business, to study it and get through. That takes 3 or 4 listens, and I take notes and get some ideas. And then the importing of all the files is usually a 2-hour process to get it all organized and color coded to my crazy brain and and get it ready. So it can be a Dolby Atmos mix usually takes between, I'd say 6 on the quick side to 2 days on the long side. So
Wow.
yeah, depends. Yeah, it can be
Incredible, man. I
you never know
appreciate
what
you
you're
sharing
getting
that.
into. Yeah,
You know what's crazy, Jeff? A lot of people, a lot of artists out there, they think that you could just mix a song in like a matter of no time. No, to really get a great
well, you
mix, and that's why I wanted you to answer that question. You just simplified it, right? It's not something you can rush. You cannot rush the greatness of a hit, and there's nothing that really defines a hit record. You just know it when you hear it. And I'm
it's
excited to hear these, even 5 Seconds of Summers. I mean, they've had some huge singles, so I'm curious to see their new sound and how K-pop has kind of influenced a lot of in EDM and various things
absolutely,
of that nature. So, Jeff,
yeah.
what advice do you have for those artists out there that need that need a stronger mix? Like it's just not cutting it the way it
Well,
sounds right now.
find someone, find me. No, I'm saying, find someone that they trust and listen to their mixes that they've done, and just don't worry so much about the name dropping. I mean, it's great when you can say a Godsmack or whatever, but at the end of the day, you're only as good as the last record you make. So you want to hear what they've done and really kind of, because there's so many different styles to do it, especially well, in 2 mix and in Atmos. It runs the gamut. You never know what you're going to get, but
Right.
it's important to find someone that's a professional, has a good reputation, and and have your expectations kind of laid out up front. Just be open with them. Say, hey, if I start a mix with you, how many times can I recall it? How many, before you start charging me or whatever, those kind of things. Just get that out in the open right at the beginning. And the guys that are pros, that's what they deal with every day. So they'll, and then, go for it from there. So, yeah.
Well, Jeff, I'm sure I'll be seeing you in Nashville, Tennessee in December for the
Absolutely.
charity event that we're working on with Miss Paula Ann and the Blaze and everybody else, right? Michael Finkley, the list goes on.
It's going to be
How can we connect with you? If somebody wants to say, you know what? I want Jeff Huskins to mix my song. How do they connect?
Well, you're going to laugh, but the easiest way is to shoot me an email. And my email's my name, Jeff Huskins at mac.com, mac.com. And just say, hey, looking for a mix, and either if it's a stereo mix or a Dolby Atmos mix or what you're looking for, and then we can go from there. So, yeah. My studio's here at BMG Nashville. But I'm obviously very loyal to my BMG family, but I'm not exclusive. I can do things for independents. I can do things for other record labels. I work for Warner and Sony and different ones all the time. So, but BMG is my home. So, but
very good. Gotta love that. I've been privy and privileged, I should say, to be on calls, and they call themselves the heartbeat of BMG. So Jeff Huskins, thank you so much for being a special guest here on Air with Brandon J. And I will definitely be connecting with you, and I look forward to hearing the new material from those new latest mixes that are in development as we speak.
Great, man. I can't wait. And I'll let Paula know I've got a page coming out on Apple, which will be like my top 50 mixes that I've been fortunate enough to mix. That should launch here in a couple of weeks, and I'll get that over to you guys and check it out and see all the wacky stuff I've been doing.
There, you said the top 50 mixes
that I've mixed over. I'm a little over 2,000 mixes in Dolby Atmos right now, and probably I'll no tell 10,000 in the other format. But I've been doing it a long time, so.
That's incredible. I think I'm up to like 20 episodes in mixing on air with Brandon J. So I got a long ways to go to catch up with you.
It's all good, man. It's all fun. It's just enjoy music. That's at the end of the day. That's what it's all about.
That's it. That's what we do, man. We love it. Jeff Huskins right here on air with Brandon J. Brandon. We'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to On Air with Brandon J. Follow on Instagram at I am Brandon J.